Doctor, happy Friday to you. Thanks for joining us. What more can you tell me about these two diseases and how serious is that double diagnosis?
Happy Friday. And, this is something that, we're getting more kind of press about, but it's been around as long as 1892 when first discovered by Dr. Arnold Pick. We used to call it Pick's disease. And I would just start by saying that aphasia and frontotemporal dementia are one and the same. Expressive and receptive speech is found in the left, in most people, the left frontal and temporal area. And these are the areas that atrophy. So early on in disease, we make a broad distinction of whether you are a behavioral variant or a linguistic variant. So it's not like you kind of get aphasia and then frontal temporal dementia. While that can happen with stroke and things like that, those are two separate entities. It's more that this degeneration early on in the disease manifests as language problems, but actually we find that later it's part of a grander dementia disease.
Yeah, and I think about, it's terrible for anybody to get this, but then you think of Wendy Williams, who communicates for a living, and actor Bruce Willis, who acts for a living in front of the masses. Are there certain groups of people who are more prone to getting this diagnosis?
Yes, I mean, it is a very devastating disease. There's no doubt. There are things we can do to help slow it down. We see that this is the #1 most common dementia in people under 60, where we would call it early onset. And we see that later on, after 65, it's the 3rd most common behind Alzheimer's and Lewy body dementia. Just to clarify, Markie, dementia is an umbrella kind of spectrum for many diseases, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. This is frontotemporal dementia. And Wendy Williams, one thing she had going against her was thyroid disease, Graves' disease. That's an autoimmune disease of the thyroid. That puts you at a 2.5 times higher risk. And then for Bruce Willis, I'm not sure what his stunt life was like, but if you have head trauma, NFL players with mood disturbances, right, frontal temporal dementia, you have a 3.5 times higher risk. So head trauma, autoimmune disease. In the case of Wendy, she's under 60. Autoimmune disease.
Yeah, some staggering numbers there. I know that you're not Wendy's doctor, but what do you think her treatment plan is looking like moving forward? Is there any sort of cure for this?
No, sadly, there's no cure now. However, it has taken the stage. One thing I'd like to directly, tell Wendy or Bruce Willis is, you are going to serve as someone who can help us grow. You're bringing light to these, previously really not appreciated disease states. And I think that's going to generate. We have a new FDA-approved drug we have a couple for Alzheimer's now. So we're going in that direction. Right now, the 2 medicines we would give are things like Aricept and Namenda, memantidine. And, these are medicines that slow down the progression. So we do have that. We can help with mood symptoms. About 48% of people have insomnia with this problem, so we can help with that. Learn a second language, develop a second language center, work with speech therapy. So there's many things we can do to mitigate the problem and to slow its progression. Right now, though, we don't have a disease and we are anxiously awaiting one.
Yeah, looking for a cure. And certainly they have large platforms to bring this to the forefront for everybody else and talk about some of the red flags we should be looking out for on our own, too. Dr. Tom Pitts, thank you as always. Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.